Hey you guys, what's up? Thanks for tuning in today. We're going to be finally getting around to the main event, which is the very highly requested Drake Lake 111 tutorial. Now, Drake Lake is a very skill-based course where a small mistake can cost a lot of time relative, because where on some courses 0.1 second might not be a lot of time, but on Drake Lake it's quite a bit of time. It's a big difference between being first place and even second place is only like 1 point, like 0.15 or 0.15x, something like that. But the difference, of course, between getting a 112 and a 111 can actually just come down to a 0.001 decision. So that's, of course, one frame, less than one frame. And we're going to analyze Illudude's current world record, which is 111.212. We're going to get nitpicky on it and see how exactly he's accomplishing these low times and which parts of the course are essential to follow his lead on just to get 111. Yeah, you can currently see on this list on the bottom left of the screen, we have 7 players who have accomplished a 111 on Drake Lake. Now this is using normal mode. We're not using hard or expert, and reverse is its own thing. It is possible to get 111 on reverse as well, as I've done. But as you can see, the list goes Illudude with a 111.2. He's held this world record on this course with different varying times since about 2013, like late 2013. Apparently I have an alarm going off. So since 2013. And then Hayate, he was the second person to get a 111. That was also in 2013, and he's repeated it in 2014 and since. So he's currently in 6th place, though. But he's one of the original 111s. He's only the second player to get it. I was the 3rd player to get it, and I've had 2nd place since, I was just looking, it's October 2014. I've had 2nd place since then. Then we got Mo, the newest, or one of the 2 newest 111s. He and Game, who's currently in 7th place. And then Lockwood and Analogism both got their 111s in 2015. And we're still waiting on more players. The most recent one being Game, and that was just last month or 2 months ago, I believe. But to get a 111 on this course, you need to have a very steady hand. You obviously need to know what you're doing. And we're going to kind of show you today what to look out for, what's going to make a great run, and what just some differences between having a great run and having one that looks good, but it's not quite 111, and like why it wouldn't be 111. So let's start. Let's just watch this run, first of all, and try to appreciate it. This was just last year. This looks like May 19th, 2016. So this run is about a year and almost a half old. So we'll just kind of go from the top, do a quick watch of the whole thing. So he's always trying to be optimal here. This is Illudude's 111.212, the current world record. He hasn't really played the course much since he got this time. He did get the gold medal in the Wave Race Olympics 2017 with like a 111.4. But he keeps most of his speed even around the big turn. He very rarely goes under 120. 120 is like the speed to keep an eye out for on this course. I really think so. You want to try to keep 120 or more. This turn being the exception, you usually want to try to keep it over 90 kilometers per hour, which he does pretty well. I mean, I can see where he can improve this. Like, I don't think I can see the 110 in my head yet, but definitely a good time. 111.2. Now, let's go back. Like, what are the little things about Drake Lake? What can you control? Well, it comes down to pretty much everything. You can control every small thing, and it all comes down to what angle you leave the turns at. Like, you have to start the turns at the right time and leave the turns at the right time at the right angles. So let's watch here. I'll kind of slow this down to 3/4 speed for now. Actually, let's go down to half. Let's go down to half speed. Okay. So we're starting it off here. He gets the max power, and he's going like right to the left of this buoy, like just barely to the left of it. And then right when he gets to it, he starts turning to the right so that he can bow and catch that first turn. Like, watch it one more time. He'll like kind of go like this, but he doesn't. I'm exaggerating the line right here because it's not really like that, but it's just slight to right here. And before he's even to this buoy, he's actually adjusting to the right a little bit to line up for the second turn. Or I guess it's really the first turn. It's the second buoy though. So he's actually already leaning a little bit to the right. He can get away with that by like going under this buoy a little bit. See, he kind of goes a little bit under it right there. Now he's going to like bow, and he's going to end up really close to this corner here. Really close, but watch what I mean. All right, and then he's doing this sharp turn. He goes all the way down to 91 here. Actually, all the way down to 90. But look at this. He's actually still turning left a little bit. He's letting it go back to neutral. Like, he's not holding the turn anymore on the joystick. But what he is doing is he's already turning, and he's holding the stick up at neutral. And Mariner is naturally leveling out so that he's still turning a little bit, but it's like going back to normal. But he can still use that lean to like finish the turn. He doesn't always have to be holding for the turn. So he comes out of here and he's like trying to line up to the left of this buoy. But it's hard because this is in the way, so you really have to get a good turn and a good line so that you are like exiting at the right place. He actually does it so well that he's able to start turning to the right a little bit before this buoy, before he even gets to it. So now we're going around. Here, let's watch that again. Here's before the big turn. This is like right away. He goes a little bit to the right so he can bow out and then get this turn. Only goes down to 90. And then slightly turning right to get to the island. Now we're going around this island. And watch this. Right, left. He's actually turning left way before he gets to this turn. But he turned right so that he could get around the buoy first. So we're coming up to this island. This is right after the first turn now. Pardon me. It's right after the first turn. He's going to go a little bit right to get around this left buoy, this yellow buoy. And now he's going to start slightly turning left, just slightly, because you want to get around this island without touching this. You don't want to touch this corner or this corner up here on the end. So if you're just kind of slightly turning left, your jet ski will stay out of the way of touching those corners most of the time. Like slightly turning left. Because you're like leaning over. You're like leaning over this land. Your jet ski's still in the water, but your body is like hanging over it. Watch, I'll kind of show you what I mean. Like right here. Like there's like ground pretty much underneath Mariner, but his jet ski is still to his right because he's leaning slightly to the left. There's a really cool dynamic to this game where if you're about to hit something, turn toward it, because your jet ski will move away from it and your body will lean into it. So the water underneath your body is actually clear. Pretty cool, right? Nice little pro tip anyway. So as we continue, he's going to be angled like this, coming out of that, like around that island section. But he's going to slightly turn right here to get to around this left buoy again. And then he's going to turn left, and watch. His leans will be so close to these corners, like this buoy corner and then the grass corner after it, that his body again will be like over those corners, and the jet ski will be off to the side in the water still. Perfect for the turn. Here we go, turning and turning. Look at this turn. Like Mariner, his head is like right here. And the jet ski, Ilu's only giving himself like a couple of inches here between the jet ski and the edge of the grass right here. This turn you can do it with like 95 plus kilometers per hour. I think Ilu on this particular run, he gets down to like 84, which, I mean, it's Ilu, dude, so he probably knows something I don't, but he can probably keep more speed there too if he's really looking for like a 110 one day. That could be one item. So let's watch that around the island section again. So he turns right just to get to the outside, and then he's leaning in left a little bit, keeping like 126 as his speed through that whole section. That's really fast. That's really good. And then right, left. Around here, keeping as much speed as possible, and now we are in the slalom section. If you come out of the turn and it looks like this, that's good. If you come out of the turn and you're facing this buoy, or you're coming at it from this angle, so you're going to run into the buoy and you don't see any space in between these two buoys, because if you're coming at it from this angle, that means you took that turn too wide. You took that left turn too wide. You need to be on the inside of the yellow buoy, and you need to see some space between the yellow and the red buoy. It can't just be, if you're just looking at in between these two buoys and you're not seeing the red buoy, or you're not seeing space in between them, you're too far to the right. Because look at this angle compared to this angle. This is the angle you want. You want to be able to see that red buoy, and you want to be able to actually see a little bit to the right of it. Because Ilu, as he goes forward here, he's going to want to start turning early. And he can't do that if he's too close to the buoy, or if he couldn't get around the yellow buoy. So here's the turn again. And it's sharp enough to where he comes out of this turn, and he's like, his jet ski is like facing, look at that, it's facing in between these two buoys already. So here we go. He's going to make a slight adjustment left a little bit early. He's getting up to speed here. And now he's actually back to like neutral on the joystick right now, and Mariner's just kind of coasting back up to neutral position. And it's going to be perfect, because as soon as he needs to start turning the other way, which is going to be in a few frames here, he'll be able to get around this yellow buoy without dropping under 120. So here he is. He's pushing to the right here to get around this. That's good. And now he's actually already back to neutral here. And he's going to start his left right here. Here we go. And look at that speed. 120. Never dropped below 120 in that slalom section once he reached it. So we'll go back to the beginning of that slalom again. Here's the turn. See how close he is to that corner? Inches, man. And he comes out of it. He's right here. That's good. Starts the left turn a little early. Now we're at 120. Right, and then left. Never dropping 120. That's really important, because that's actually a lot of speed loss going under 120 there. It kind of equals about 1/10 of a second every time you go down below 120 after you've reached it. And on this part that I just played through right here, let's go back. This is the open water section, and it's really dangerous because it's got those logs. But you don't need to worry about those logs or the stumps or whatever they're called, because the line that you want to go through actually takes you through them perfectly, and it should be almost the same every time. So if you get used to it, you'll almost never hit the logs. They're just inconvenient that they're there. But it's actually like the line is perfect for those. So watch, he's going to go around this section, and again, he's in a slight turn, but he's not turning, you know what I mean? He's in a slight lean. And you want to like keep this lean the entire time. You're actually never in a straightaway in this section. You're like turning. Here we're going to actually go a little bit further out than you might think. And then we're going to turn, keeping it really close to this buoy. But you don't want to like go straight at this buoy, because then you're going to come out too wide when you get to the stump section. So I'm going to so Ilu's going to come out here, and then he's going to lean. And he's going to cut really close. And there's the lean. He's keeping it really consistent. Still not going below 120. And we're looking for this left. We're looking for this log right of the red buoy. This one to the right of it at this angle. You're going to hug that. And then still on this side of the next log, to the left of this one and to the right of this one to come out. Left of this one, right of this one. He's at 126, 127, and he's still in this lean. It's gradual. And then there's like the ending here of the lap. This is the corner that you have to watch out for. Not so much this one, but this one. This is the corner that you're actually aiming at, because that's the only one that's in the way. Everything else is off to the side a little bit, but this one's in the way. You have to go around it. So right here, he's going to go around. He keeps about 118, I think, on this turn. All right, he kept 120 on this lap, which is really good. Look at how close to the yellow buoy. We went back here to the logs section on lap 1. Look at how close he comes to this buoy. It's like going to be about 4 feet. That's pretty optimal because you can keep the most speed. You don't want to be too close to this wall or you lose more speed. Like if you're coming at it from the angle that my mouse is going at it from and then try to turn, you actually lose a little bit of speed. So you can do that like on lap 3. But it loses too much speed at the beginning of the next lap to do it really on any lap but lap 3. So here we are, end of lap 1. He's close to this buoy, and he's going to be turning to the left around this corner. This is that corner that sticks out a little bit further than everything else. So he's going to cut that one really close. Like, that's about another inch or so. Mariner's body is like hanging over that corner again a little bit, and his jet ski is in the water off to the right of that. So he's easing up on the stick. He wants to go back to neutral, and he's got a 25.217. I've seen him get better first laps. I've got better first laps than that, but the rest of this run is really what makes it as good as it is. So lap 2, we're already pretty much going to be identical between laps 1, 2, and 3. But the beginning is a little bit different because you're coming out of the first lap. So you have a lot more speed at the beginning of laps 2 and 3 than you did on lap 1. So let's see how Ilu uses it. He lines up right away a little bit to the left of this yellow buoy. Angles to the right and then turns to the left. And this time 91 is his low speed on the first turn. So let's go back to the beginning of lap 2. Okay, we'll watch the end of lap 1 here. Here's that corner. He's going around it. 120. Look at where he crosses the finish line. Like, from post to post. He ends up like right here. It's about 1/3 of the way down. Like here's 1/3. Here's another third, and here's the last third. Like, he crosses right about here. Right here. Boom. And that gives him a good angle to go at. If you go too far to the right, then you're like wasting time because you have to drive diagonally a little bit. But here you just go straight as soon as you see that buoy up ahead. And just a pro tip, the arrow above the buoys appear before the buoys do on Drake Lake. Because of the fog. Even on lap 3 though, when there's no fog, the buoys still don't appear until you would actually be able to see them through the fog. But you can see the arrows a little bit earlier without the fog. Just, I don't know if you guys knew that. But he's going straight here. He starts to bow to the right and to the left. That bow really helps him contain a lot of his speed. So let's watch that one more time. And we'll go around the island this time. Okay, lap 2, he straightens out to the left of the yellow buoy. Slight right and left right away when he gets that angle. 91, and again, he's hugging this wall, really close to that wall, so that when he comes out of here, he's already to the left of that buoy, and he can actually just make his adjustment to the right to stay around the buoy and go around this island. Here he goes around the island, turns left a little bit. This is an area, too, that a lot of people have problems on because they keep touching this island. As long as you're, like, turning, you're usually okay. If you're trying to go straight, it's usually because your angle's not very good anyway, and you're trying to, like, maximize how far you can go just by going straight. You'll end up a lot of times touching the beach or touching this grassy area. But Ilu, again, he's already going to the left of this, so he starts making his adjustment to the right. Like, look at it. It looks like he's going to smash this buoy, but he knows he's going to be okay. And he starts making his adjustment to the... Oh, we're stopping here. Okay. Starts making his adjustment to the left right here. And on this one, as you see, this is even closer to that corner. Like, I would say, just based on this, that it looks like he's hitting that corner. I don't know if he actually hits the corner here, but it definitely is pretty close. Look at that. Look at that. Coming out of this turn, 88 this time is the low speed. That's definitely acceptable. Like, you can go to 111 dropping all the way down to 80, trust me. But if you want to contain or maintain as much speed as you can, we're looking at like between 88 and 95 being your target. Coming out of here again, he's lining up to go in between these. He doesn't want to be too far to the right here. And too far to the left would make it so that you have to turn too sharp when you get past this red buoy. But right about where he's at is the best place to be. Like facing this way in between the buoys and then giving himself enough space to start turning left around this one a little bit early. And then that way he doesn't have to turn very sharp and he can maximize his speed retention. So here we go through the slalom section. He should be reaching 120 right after this buoy. He gets it. Does he drop it on lap 2? I think he drops it on lap 3, 120. Being the low speed on that one. Let's go back here to that section one more time. Here's the turn. Left, and then he's easing up. He's not holding left like from after the turn. He actually lets go of left. Like, he's like right, left, neutral. Neutral. So he's letting Mariner like naturally go back to neutral. Here we see an adjustment left, straight, right, straight, left, left, just a little bit. Kind of sneaks under that buoy again, but he's not dropping 120 here, going straight through. All the while still trying to keep this kind of as a slight turn. That whole section is kind of like a slight turn. Now, watch again through the wood, through the logs section. a slight turn just going in between these two. That's the important part. And then slight turn to the left. Goes down to only about 118 at the end of that lap. Very, very good pace. Now we're on the last lap. The last lap is always a problem for people. The fog doesn't really have any effect on the course as far as lag is concerned that we know of. The in-game timer is a frame counter. It's not a real-time counter. But the frame counter is pretty consistent, and there's not a lot of slowdown within the courses on this game. But there is instances of slowdown from, like, certain sections of the game. In Drake Lake, we're not sure if there's more lag or less lag when you are with or without the fog on Drake Lake. And the fog is based on the timer. It's like 55 seconds or so. The fog starts to go away, which usually lines up with like the beginning of lap 3. So that's why we see lap 3 have no fog. So I can already see the arrow on Ilu's screen here for the next buoy, but you can't see the buoy yet. He's going to line up a little bit to the left of it as usual. Just ever so slightly. He's actually already turning right a little bit, probably counting on going a little bit under this buoy. It does start to pop up a little bit, so he's able to go under it, and then 91 again being the low speed here. He's kind of hugging this wall once again because he wants to go to the left of this buoy. And now he's starting to angle to the right because he wants to get around this buoy and make the turn around this island. There it is. It makes a big adjustment to the right to open up this turn. And then he already starts leaning to the left a little bit right here. See that left lean? Leaning left, 124, 124. Gets up to 126, but that's actually not as good as his lap 2. Right there at that part. Look at this turn. This angle was a little bit different. And the funny thing is, I know this is a 22-second lap. Like a 22.9 something. But he goes to the right. He doesn't make as much of an adjustment right here. Because when he starts evening out, he's like facing the first notch of this turn, which isn't even the one that you have to get around. So he starts turning here the other way. And here's notch 1, here's notch 2. He almost hits this first notch. Look at how close he is to it. And then this is the second one, like the main one that you have to get around. Only goes down to 91 on this turn. So we had like 84 on the first lap, 88 on the second lap, and 91 on the third lap. And that difference of like, I don't know, 3 kilometers per hour, you'll see what that does for the run. Gets up to 120 right when he crosses that buoy, and now he's going to make a slight adjustment to the right now. That lines up for the next buoy. And then he's actually already to neutral here. He's going to start the adjustment left to go in between these two buoys. This is red, and it's on the right. This is yellow, and it's on the left. So this is a left lean. He gets it without, I think, 118 here. He drops 120 here. So this actually could have been a world record lap if he was able to maintain 120 here. But that's okay. He still gets the world record 3 lap. Sometimes you can sneak under this buoy if you're really on your game and you kind of see it bouncing, but do not count on getting lucky like that. He goes under. He's down to 118 again, but he picks it right back up. Starts his left, and look at how close that is. But he knew that he needed it. Yes. So you can come in like super close to that, super close to this. Because it's all about getting to that finish line, you know? That will really help you get there fast, too. So that's the 111. We're going to watch it in normal speed with the audio again.
Battery 80%.
All right, starts off a little to the right and then goes for it to the left, keeping a high speed. Just ease around that island. There's no hard turn around the island. When you come out of the sharp turn, make sure that you are in between the yellow and red buoys, or that you're aiming in between the yellow and red buoys. Maintain 127 if possible around that turn. Right when the lap starts, you want to line up a little bit left of the buoy so that you're giving yourself space to adjust to the right while you're going around it. And then, of course, slam that left turn as close to that wall as you can. Finishing up lap 2, just try to maintain speed through the open water and then take the turn really close to that wall. Last turn, he keeps 91 kilometers per hour. He does that by getting the turn set up a little bit early and then easing out of the turn instead of like turning super sharp, you know. 111.212.
Holy shit, I thought I choked it.
And 22.981 was the last lap, and if he had just one frame better would definitely beat 22.950 because it would be a 949 or better. So let's look here. I'm going to bring up another run to kind of show you. Okay, we're going to look at Modal's recent 112.1. I'm going to grow it a little bit here. All right. So let's look at Modal's run, and I'll try to mention a few things like where the difference is going to end up being between the 112 and the 111. So we'll let him get through this run here. I turned off his audio on the stream because it is kind of loud. Okay. So he gets started here. He gets to the left of this buoy and starts the turn a little bit early. I like that. Pretty close, but it does touch that wall a little bit. All right, that was a pretty good speed around the buoys. I would say lap 1 so far. We are on 111 pace. Right here, watch the speed right here. 124, 122, 117. Did you guys see it? It just needs to be smoother so that you don't lose the 120, like if at all possible. Here's pretty good. That's a good turn. That's a really good turn. 25.430 on the first lap. Okay, second lap. Let's watch this. Hey, that's a pretty good turn. Here, instead of going like this, it might need to look more like this. See the difference? This is what he does. This is what he should do. So Bo is a little bit too far out to the right and loses probably about 10 kilometers per hour or close to it. And gets all the way down to 109. So that one will need to be a little bit faster, kind of tighten up that slight turn right there. And you'll see should probably already be turning a little bit slightly to the left here so that you can keep over 124 for the straightaway. But again, Modal's got some really strong big turns, like right here. Again, really close. He clips the edge here, but that's not much of a speed loss. I mean, he kept 90 kilometers per hour as the speed. Back to this part, want that slight turn to the left to happen, probably about here. You wait a little bit too long, and then therefore we're not really keeping 120 all that well. 118, again, not too shabby going to 118, but all these little time losses can kind of add up. This part, going through the logs was pretty good, but then you want to keep the speed going around that last turn a little bit better. We're a little bit too far away from this, and if you lean into it a little bit sooner, Mariner will kind of just guide you right up to it and right around it. But we go all the way down to about 113 on that turn, so just losing a little bit too much speed right there. Let's look at lap 3. Okay. A little bit wide on that turn. That's the widest one yet here. Start bowing left, like right here at this angle, because it's a little bit too sharp to the right. So you want to compensate by starting your left turn a little bit sooner. It would need to be kind of sharp from here. This angle's not too great. So if this were a little sharper, you'd come out a little bit closer to this wall, but you're aiming a little bit too far to the right here. So again, we should be looking at this angle, but we're looking at this one again. Should be looking at this. We are looking at this. This versus this. This versus this. Whoops. Well, I'm all over the place now. Anyway, here we go, lap 3. We're going around a little close to the grass there. You can lose a little bit of speed. That turn was about 86, and the angle coming out was to where you're going to touch that yellow buoy. So it needs to come out a little bit further to the left, which will end up making you drop a little bit more speed. But basically, Modal here has he's got the skill to get 111. This was a pretty recent time. I think this was actually from yesterday. This one that we're just watching and critiquing. So as a means to get there, we need to make everything tight. We need to watch a lot of the videos, analyze your own play, and see what you can do about working out little kinks, like just little moments where you lose too much speed because you're a little hard on the turn. Usually if you're turning too sharp, it's because it's two things. You didn't start the turn soon enough, or you couldn't start it soon enough because your angle was bad. So that usually it's one of those reasons why you lose too much speed on the turns. So if you started a little bit sooner and more gradually, it'll always be faster than if you just try to do a really sharp turn at the last second. So anyway, that's my 111 tutorial for you guys. I will definitely be doing more of these in the future. So let me know what you guys want to see, and I will try to provide a nice in-depth tutorial with some top-level players' videos as the guide. So anyway, thanks again for watching, you guys. I hope you have a good rest of your day.